he's a top 10 talent. He just doesn't have the number next to his name. And I believe I'm a top 10 talent who doesn't have the number next to my name. So it's a great chance for both of us to come out here on a big pay-per-view that you could say maybe lacks a little bit of star power, right? And we got a vacuum for that. So there's a void there, and I think either one of us could easily step into that role and sort of fill that star power on the card.
So when you do break down, what stands out to him from his skill set?
Look, goes well in both stances, checks the calf kick well. He calf kicks better when he's in southpaw than when he's in orthodox. I calf kick better when I'm in orthodox. It's going to be a mind game. I think every minute the fight goes on will suit me better.
And I'd have to ask because, we don't normally get a lot of prelim fighters at these media days, but do you feel like the UFC is behind you because, another big card? I know you want to fight in Edmonton, but fighting on a pay-per-view in Sydney seems like a bigger deal for just you and the country as a whole.
Yeah, it's a massive deal for me. I think, like I said, the UFC doesn't make, they have plans within plans. They don't just do things for no reason. And there is a lack of, we don't have a Hooker, we don't have a Kai Kara France, we don't have Adesanya, we don't have a Volkanovski, we don't have a Bam Bam, we don't have those guys on this card. So the UFC is giving us this opportunity and saying, step up, be the star you want to be. And I fully intend to fill that void.
Are you wearing a Troy Bolton shirt? I just noticed that.
Yeah, why? Troy Bolton, get your head in the game.
Why Troy Bolton?
Oh, just a little bit of, I'm a millennial, you would say, and grew up on High School Musical, so you got to keep it where I grew up.
Just last one for me. Did I see you get your black belt too between? So what was that experience like?
Yeah, it was great. I got to go back to my first jiu-jitsu coach, Heath Addard, and me and my brother both got our black belts from him, and that was a really special day.
Yeah, Jack, just over here to your left. Do you think the UFC's push of you matches your performances so far?
Yep. Yeah, I think they've been about spot on. Given me tests when I've performed well. The first couple of fights, I think they just throw you in there. So it's like, here's Don Chanis, and then here's Jamal Emmers. Performed well there. Then it was Chepe Marisol. Obviously, that one didn't go my way. And then, Herbert Burns was late notice. So you could say that they were trying to push me a little bit with the Tucker fight. Herbert Burns wasn't so much that, but he stepped up on short notice. So, and now they obviously, they know how good Santos is. So this is a test for me to go get past this one, and we'll throw you some bigger fish.
I think there's 3 debutants on the card. Did you think you'd become somewhat of a veteran or like a leader to Australians so early in your career?
Yep.
And finally, mate, I just want everyone to know, do you really enjoy watching your own highlights?
Yeah, I do. I think it's probably the first time as a fighter that I've been on TikTok and scrolled past and seen like a stranger who made an edit of me, and I'm addicted to them. I love watching my own edits. There's one somebody made with the song Akon Lonely, and I just was like, this edit slaps. So thank you to whoever made those edits, and keep them coming because I love them.
Hang on, Jack, over here. Good to see you again. When we saw you in Perth, it sounds like you might have been a little bit frustrated with perhaps the fighting style of Herbert Burns and how that fight went down. It sounds like you're not at all worried about that against Gabriel Santos. Would that be correct to say?
Herbert Burns and Gabriel Santos probably couldn't be further apart in terms of how they go about fighting stylistically. Gabriel Santos is on the front foot, comes forward, throws hard shots, mixes his grappling in well. When he does grapple, he doesn't rest at all. When he's on his back, he's not taking a breath. He's swiveling his hips. He's going for arm bars. So there's just no comparison between the two fights. I just think, like I said, every minute that this fight goes on, as I'm downloading more and more information, I'm going to be able to find a hole.
Yeah. And it sounds like that is making you much more excited for the fight, especially if it does end in sensational fashion. Sky's the limit for you in terms of next fights.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm new to the UFC and that sort of thing, but I'm 31. I don't have, it's been hard to get fights. I wanted to fight again last year. I don't have all this time up my sleeve. My body's in really good shape. So while I'm 31, it's not like I'm pushing time clock where I need to go, but I don't want to wait around. Like you got to step up. You got to put on big performances. That's what the UFC rewards. So this is a perfect fight to be able to do that.
And on that, do you have an ideal number in terms of fights that you'd like to have this year, including this one, of course?
It's not a number of fights; it's a number of zeros in the bank account. So once I've got enough money to retire and open a little racehorse stable and breed horses, that'll be good enough for me.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
G'day, Jack. Is that horse stable you're going to be breeding down in Timaru, where Far Lap's from?
No, it won't be over in New Zealand. Probably be somewhere out in the Macedon Ranges in Victoria, I would think. But I like keeping those New Zealand bloodlines coming in, though.
So far in your UFC career, you're only had one fight outside of Aussie. Do you reckon you're in deep enough now that you might just try to keep the streak going and see if you can do your entire career only fighting an Aussie?
No, I think I said it after like my first fight in the UFC. In my post-fight interview, I said that I wanted to get to the US because that's where, the big market is. They love putting me on at these shows because it's easy to sell a heap of tickets when you can announce a prelim fight that gets attention from the local fans. And Australia is one of the biggest pay-per-view buyers per capita in the world. So, they like leaving me here, but I'm fully intent to get over to the US and get on some big shows over there this year.
And you sound very prepared and researched on your opponent, but how much of that advice has come from your researcher and old mate Ben P?
Nah, nothing from Ben P for this one. It actually got a little bit overwhelming because once you open the floodgates and say that you read all your DMs and that you get you got advice from a guy, I've probably had 500 randoms, like people who don't even have anything to do with fighting, just being like, hey, this is what you should do, this is what you should do. So it just became a bit much. And like I said with the Ben P thing, it was a cool story and 100% true, but my coach had already identified the way we were going to go about that fight. So it's no actual difference for me, but no more advice from the outside.
And I've noticed you've got a seemingly special relationship with the Tougher brothers, where every single card you've been on, one of them has also been on that card.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I grew up playing rugby union in Victoria, and anyone who grew up playing rugby union in Victoria spends a lot of time around Islanders. I was probably the only Barlungi on the team. So, special affinity with those boys. They're like big bros to me, the Usos, and I love being on the cards with them.
Cheers and love the shit.
Thank you.
Yeah, one more in the front right here. I think I saw a video of you said, the injury made you better to your elbow, and you said now you look to dominate rather than win, I think was your exact phrasing. So I guess how do you see this fight playing out? What's the headline read after this fight?
The headline reads, Farjak makes case for top 10 fight with dramatic finish in the second round. Thank you.